The D.C. pipe bomb suspect appearing in court for the first time today. 30-year-old Brian Cole Jr. was wearing a tan jumpsuit and glasses. His family was there, and as he was let out of the courtroom, they yelled, "We love you, Brian. We're here for you, baby." Now, new details are starting to trickle out about his life since that night. He has no criminal record, and he was not registered to vote. His grandmother told the New York Post he's a good kid. He's a 30-year-old man, and he has the mind of a 16-year-old. She described him as almost autistic-like. Cole is facing 2 federal counts for transporting and planting an explosive device outside the DNC and RNC headquarters the night before January 6th, and he could face up to 20 years in prison if convicted. Here to react is Jonathan Turley, George Washington University professor of law. Professor, this isn't all it's going to be, of course. What additional charges could Brian Cole Jr. face here?
Well, what he's facing initially are placeholder charges that give you federal jurisdiction and lay a foundation upon which you can build a greater case. These are the 2 most obvious. That is, an interstate bomb crime, possessing a bomb in interstate transportation, and the other is the threatened use or attempted use of that device. It sounds like they believe they have fairly good evidence to at least establish the basis for a trial. The most obvious charges that come will be terrorism charges, and those were alluded to during the press conference. Over and over again, the speaker said he terrified his neighbors. He created this environment of terror in Washington, D.C. Those were not just cavalier statements. I think that they're clearly building a case towards terrorism, and that will ramp up the charges beyond 20 years. He could be obviously facing life.
Now, you heard the comment from the grandmother that was reported where she said he has the mind of a 16-year-old, basically called him autistic-like. Do you think that's the beginning of a foundation being laid for the fact that he didn't have the mental capacity to commit this crime as a knowing, sentient adult who understood right from wrong?
It may be more useful on the mitigation stage for sentencing. As a criminal defense attorney, I can tell you that it's very hard to establish an insanity defense, and autistic-like is not going to do that. I mean, the standard is very high. And the point is that he carried out a fairly complex alleged crime here. You know, he was able to evade detection for years. He built devices that the government says would have functioned if they had been correctly, I guess, placed or activated. All of that suggests that he had a certain degree of ability, cognitive ability, both at the time and after the alleged crime. So it doesn't fit the profile of someone that will meet that standard. It may be something that is raised at sentencing to say this is this was a troubled kid. He certainly would fit that profile that the FBI is probably most concerned about, which is that lone wolf, that isolated individual who sits there and stews in his own juices and then decides after a while he wants to bring down a building.
Yeah, online. And he admitted after he spoke to investigators that he planted the devices, and he apparently also expressed doubts about the outcome of the 2020 presidential election, and we're going to learn more about that. He was at the same time he was buying bomb materials, Jonathan, which I should point out to our viewers, back in 2019. So that was before the election. So unless he's a psychic, that all seems kind of strange, right?
Well, what's interesting, I think most of us are as interested in how the earlier investigation could have missed this, because this is a case made from old bricks. They're saying that they didn't find anything more. And there's the suggestion that they might have had pings on his cell phone all around that area. Well, it's hard to imagine that people couldn't put these pieces together the way the Trump administration did. So I think there'll be a secondary investigation into how we could look so hard and not see something that it's suggested was in plain sight. You just had to put the parts together.
Or they didn't want to see. Jonathan, Wonderful to see you. Thank you so much.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.